In a world where the truth seems increasingly subjective, emotionally shielding oneself has become a necessity, especially in romantic relationships. Have you ever stopped to think about how many lies you've heard, or told, in the name of love? You might believe that small lies are harmless or that subtle manipulations are part of the game. But what if I told you that these behaviors, often disguised as affection or protection, could be the first signs of an emotionally destructive cycle? The truth is that, no matter how painful, we need to face the lies and manipulations that infiltrate our relationships head-on. The good news? It's possible to learn to recognize these patterns before they cause irreversible damage. And no, you don't need to be an expert to do so. With the right techniques, you can develop a sort of radar to identify when something isn't right and thus protect your emotional well-being. Stay with me, because what I'm going to teach you today could radically change how you experience love. Lying is, in a way, an inescapable part of everyday life. It manifests in small doses, often harmless, like when someone says everything is fine to avoid a difficult conversation or claims to like a gift that didn't really please them. These lies, though seemingly weightless, are part of our attempt to maintain harmony in social situations. However, it's important to pay attention to the frequency and motivation behind them, because what starts as a simple omission can evolve into a harmful pattern of behavior. But why do we lie? For some, it's a matter of self-preservation, a way to escape embarrassing situations or protect someone else's feelings. Imagine someone who, after a long day at work, lies about being too tired to go out when they're actually not interested in the invitation. This type of lie might seem justifiable at first, but when repeated constantly, it can breed distrust and damage relationships. Manipulation, though subtle, begins to creep in, and what was personal protection turns into a web of deception. Now, think about those lies we use to avoid conflicts. For example, when a person says they agree with something just to avoid starting an argument. This type of lie, though well-intentioned, can actually cause more harm in the long run. Manipulating words to avoid immediate conflict can lead to a buildup of resentment, turning minor issues into major obstacles in the relationship. Over time, these small deceptions can erode trust, turning a simple disagreement into an emotional chasm. And what happens when we realize we're caught in a cycle of lies? Often, the revelation comes subtly, through small inconsistencies that begin to surface. This is where the ability to recognize and understand lies becomes vital. Knowing how to spot these nuances can be the key to breaking the cycle, paving the way for a more authentic relationship free of manipulations. And that's exactly what we'll be discussing next: how to recognize a lie when it arises. Recognizing a lie can be a valuable skill, especially when it comes to maintaining transparency in a relationship. Lies, even the most subtle ones, leave traces on those who tell them. These traces often appear as micro-expressions, small facial movements that reveal true emotions, even when the words say otherwise. For example, a forced smile or a gaze that quickly averts can be signs that something is being hidden. Mastering the reading of these subtle cues can help you discern between what is true and what has been manipulated. In addition to micro-expressions, nonverbal communication plays a crucial role in detecting lies. The body often betrays what words try to conceal. Hesitant gestures, restless hands, or a rigid posture can indicate that the truth is being distorted. Imagine someone who claims to be calm but whose body shows signs of tension. This mismatch is a warning that something isn't right. Learning to observe these details can make all the difference when assessing the veracity of the information we receive. But how do you apply this knowledge in everyday life? Imagine a scenario where a partner says they're happy about something, but there's a feeling of discomfort in the air. By observing the nonverbal cues and comparing them to the words spoken, you can begin to notice the inconsistencies. This isn't about paranoia, but rather about careful observation of the environment and the people around us. Over time, this practice becomes natural, allowing you to protect yourself from potential manipulations. These signals, when detected, not only reveal lies but also prepare us to face the manipulations that may lie behind them. By identifying behavior patterns that indicate deception, it becomes easier to defend oneself and protect the integrity of the relationship. And it is precisely this defense against manipulation that will be explored in the next topic. Psychopaths are masters of manipulation, and this is largely due to their lack of guilt and empathy in their actions. They can engage in deceptive and destructive behaviors without the slightest remorse, making them effective and dangerous manipulators. In society, many psychopaths find success in their careers precisely because of their ability to make cold and calculated decisions. However, this success comes at a price, especially when these individuals are in relationships, where manipulation can cause irreparable damage. The dark triad, composed of narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, is often identified in people who seek power and control at any cost. These characteristics, when present in a partner, can turn the dynamics of a relationship into a psychological battlefield. The narcissist, with their constant need for adulation, and the Machiavellian, with their manipulative cunning, join forces with the psychopath to create an environment where manipulation is the norm. Understanding this triad is crucial for identifying harmful behaviors and protecting oneself from them. But how do these traits manifest in daily life? Think of someone who constantly distorts reality to suit their needs, manipulates others' emotions to get what they want, or uses superficial charm to hide their true intentions. These are classic examples of the dark triad in action. Recognizing these patterns is the first step to avoid being sucked into this toxic dynamic and keeping your sanity intact in a relationship. Awareness of the dark triad is not just about self-protection but also about understanding how these traits deeply affect human interactions. By knowing how to identify these behaviors, you can take steps to distance yourself, avoid deeper involvement, and even help others recognize the signs of manipulation. And it is precisely this defense against manipulations that we will address in the next topic, exploring effective ways to protect your emotional integrity. Protecting oneself from manipulation is a challenge, but it is essential for maintaining emotional health and the integrity of any relationship. The first line of defense is knowing the most common manipulation techniques. One of them is the door-in-the-face technique, where a person initially makes an exaggerated request, expecting you to refuse, only to then make a smaller request, which seems more reasonable by comparison. This smaller request, which was the real goal from the beginning, is often accepted because it seems fairer. Recognizing this technique is crucial to avoid being fooled by it. Another common form of manipulation is emotional manipulation, which can manifest in various ways. For example, the manipulator may use guilt to get what they want, making the other person feel responsible for their emotional well-being. Imagine a situation where someone constantly makes you feel bad for not meeting their expectations, even when those expectations are irrational. This can create a cycle where you find yourself giving in more and more to avoid the emotional discomfort that manipulation causes. An effective defense against these techniques begins with awareness. Being alert to the signs of manipulation, such as sudden mood changes, requests that come with a heavy emotional charge, or demands that seem excessive, allows you to maintain your own position and not give in easily. Additionally, practicing assertiveness is crucial. Knowing how to say no clearly and without guilt is a skill that can be developed and that provides a powerful shield against manipulators. Manipulation, when unrecognized and unchallenged, can deeply undermine trust and self-esteem. By learning to identify these tactics and defend against them, you not only preserve your emotional health but also strengthen your relationships, building a foundation of trust and mutual respect. And it is precisely in this context that we will explore, next, how these techniques can be specifically applied in romantic relationships, where lies and manipulation can be even more insidious. Detecting lies in a relationship is a skill that can preserve trust and harmony between partners. One of the most effective methods for identifying lies is observing micro-expressions, those brief and involuntary facial movements that betray a person's true emotions, even when their words say otherwise. For example, a partner who claims to be happy might show a tense micro-smile, indicating that their happiness is forced. Learning to read these subtleties is like acquiring a sixth sense for the truth. In addition to micro-expressions, body language offers valuable clues about the truthfulness of a statement. Gestures like crossing arms, avoiding eye contact, or fidgeting with hands while speaking can indicate discomfort or an attempt to hide something. Imagine a moment when your partner looks away while answering a direct question. This could be a sign that they're being evasive. Paying attention to these details allows you to build a more accurate picture of the situation, often revealing inconsistencies that might otherwise go unnoticed. Another effective technique is analyzing inconsistencies in the narrative. When someone is lying, it's common for them to contradict themselves at different points in the conversation. For instance, when asking about a specific event, you might notice that details change subtly each time the story is told. This lack of cohesion in the information can be a clear sign that the truth is being distorted. Having the patience and sharpness to identify these discrepancies is a powerful tool in detecting lies. These techniques are not just about uncovering the truth but also about strengthening the relationship by promoting more honest communication. By applying these skills, you not only protect your heart from possible manipulations but also encourage a relationship where truth is valued and nurtured. And speaking of communication, in the next topic, we will explore the relationship between verbal and nonverbal communication and how this dynamic can deeply impact a couple. At the heart of any healthy relationship is communication, and not just what is said but also what is left between the lines. Verbal communication is the most direct form of expression, but often the words don't tell the whole story. It's in nonverbal communication, in gestures, tone of voice, facial expressions, where the true essence of emotions and intentions resides. For example, while your partner might say that everything is fine, a hesitant tone or distant look might suggest otherwise. The key lies in learning to read these signals and combine them with what is verbalized for a more complete understanding. Body language is a powerful tool in this context. A tight hug can convey more support and affection than 1,000 words, while a defensive posture might indicate that the partner feels attacked or uncomfortable, even if they don't admit it. These nonverbal signals are often unconscious but speak volumes about what the other person is truly feeling. To strengthen the relationship, it is crucial to pay attention not only to what is said but also to what is left unsaid. This synergy between verbal and nonverbal communication helps to avoid misunderstandings and strengthens the emotional connection. However, this reading isn't limited to signs of discomfort or tension. The same applies to positive emotions. A simple touch on the shoulder while talking or a genuine smile that accompanies words of affection reinforces the message and creates a deeper bond. Think of how a caring gesture at an unexpected moment can transform someone's day. These small details, when aligned with words, have the power to build a stronger, more loving relationship. Therefore, understanding and valuing nonverbal communication within a couple not only enriches the relationship but also creates a foundation of trust and mutual understanding. It's a dance between what is said and what is felt that, when well harmonized, can prevent conflicts and strengthen love. And speaking of conflicts, in the next topic, we will explore the difference between lying and falsity in a relationship, an important nuance that can prevent many misunderstandings. Distinguishing between a lie and falsity is crucial for understanding the dynamics of a relationship. Although both concepts are related to the distortion of truth, they are not exactly the same. A lie typically involves a conscious intent to deceive. It's a statement made knowing it's false. For example, when someone denies doing something to avoid consequences, that's a lie. Falsity, on the other hand, can be more insidious, involving a misleading presentation of oneself or circumstances without necessarily being a direct statement. It's more about omitting truths or presenting a distorted version of reality. In a couple's daily life, these nuances can have a significant impact. Imagine a partner who constantly presents themselves as more successful than they really are. They may not be directly lying, but this falsity creates a distorted image that, when discovered, can shake the trust in the relationship. Manipulation in this context is subtle and dangerous because falsity, unlike a clear lie, can go unnoticed for much longer, slowly eroding the trust between partners. A practical example of how this difference manifests can be seen in discussions about future expectations. If a partner promises something knowing they can't fulfill it, they're lying. But if they create false hopes without being sure they can meet them, they're being false. Both attitudes harm the relationship, but in different ways. A lie provokes a more immediate rupture, while falsity, when revealed, can slowly destroy the perception of who the partner really is, leaving deep scars in the relationship. Recognizing this difference and addressing it with honesty and clarity is essential for the health of the relationship. When both partners understand this distinction, it becomes easier to maintain open communication and avoid misunderstandings that can escalate into larger conflicts. And this brings us to the next point, where we'll explore how to identify the profile of a manipulator in a relationship, a skill that can prevent much unnecessary suffering. Identifying the profile of a manipulator in a relationship is an essential skill to protect oneself from harmful behaviors. The manipulator often presents traits that can initially be mistaken for charisma or confidence, but that, over time, reveal a tendency to exploit and control the partner. Narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy are characteristics often present in these individuals, and recognizing these signs can be the difference between a healthy relationship and a cycle of emotional manipulation. The narcissist, for example, demands constant validation and rarely accepts responsibility for problems, while the Machiavellian uses lies and deceit to achieve their goals without caring about others' feelings. These traits do not appear evident at the beginning of the relationship. On the contrary, manipulators tend to be charming and seductive, winning the partner's trust and affection before revealing their true intentions. Imagine a partner who initially seems perfect, always saying what you want to hear, but who gradually begins to distort situations so that everything revolves around their needs and desires. This behavior, when not identified and confronted, can lead to a relationship where one partner constantly feels guilty, insecure, and manipulated. Manipulation can also manifest in subtle ways, such as through gaslighting, where the manipulator makes the victim question their own reality, or through the constant changing of the rules of the relationship to keep the other in a state of confusion. These signs of manipulation should not be ignored. Upon realizing that you're being manipulated, the best approach is to establish clear and assertive boundaries. This might mean openly discussing the behavior, seeking counseling, or, in extreme cases, considering ending the relationship to preserve your emotional health. Understanding the profile of a manipulator is the first step in avoiding falling into the emotional traps they create. Once these patterns are recognized, you become more capable of protecting yourself and making informed decisions about the future of the relationship. And it's precisely about the impact of these behaviors that we'll talk about in the next topic, exploring how the dark triad can devastate a relationship. The presence of the dark triad in a relationship, narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, can create a highly toxic and exhausting environment. The narcissist, with their relentless pursuit of admiration, makes the partner constantly feel insufficient, always trying to meet impossible expectations. The Machiavellian manipulates situations to their advantage, distorting reality, and making the partner believe that their desires and needs are selfish or inappropriate. Psychopathy adds an element of coldness and disregard, where genuine empathy and affection are replaced by relentless emotional control. These characteristics, when combined, create a cycle of emotional abuse that can be devastating for the victim. The person involved with someone who exhibits the dark triad traits often finds themselves trapped in a game where the rules constantly change, always to their disadvantage. Manipulation is constant, and the victim begins to doubt themselves, their perceptions, and even their sanity. This vicious cycle not only destroys self-esteem but also isolates the person from their support systems, leaving them vulnerable and dependent on the manipulator. Recognizing the impact of the dark triad is crucial to breaking this cycle and regaining control over one's own life. Identifying these traits in the partner and seeking help, whether through therapy, support from friends and family, or even the decision to leave the relationship, is essential for protecting emotional and mental health. In the next topic, we'll explore how microexpressions can reveal hidden truths, helping to identify manipulations before they deepen. Microexpressions are small but powerful windows into the hidden truth in a relationship. These brief and involuntary facial expressions can reveal emotions that a person is trying to hide, such as anger, contempt, or sadness, even when their words say otherwise. Imagine a partner who smiles while saying everything is fine but briefly shows an expression of disapproval or discomfort. That small gesture can be an indicator that there's something deeper that needs to be discussed. Understanding and identifying these micro-expressions can be a valuable tool for maintaining honesty and trust in a relationship. By noticing these subtleties, you can initiate an open and direct conversation about what's really going on, rather than accepting a superficial answer. This not only avoids misunderstandings but also helps build an environment where communication is more authentic and less manipulative. However, interpreting micro-expressions requires practice and sensitivity. It's not about accusing your partner of lying with every involuntary expression, but rather being attuned to the nuances and seeking to understand what's really going on inside them. This attention to detail can prevent manipulations and strengthen the bond between the couple. In the next topic, we'll talk about how to defend yourself against manipulative behaviors in a relationship, preserving your self-esteem and emotional well-being. Protecting yourself from manipulative behaviors in a relationship is crucial to preserving your emotional health. One of the first defense techniques is to establish clear boundaries and communicate your expectations assertively. Not giving in to pressure or manipulation, even when the partner tries to use emotional tactics to gain control, is essential. For example, if the partner tries to make you feel guilty about something that isn't your responsibility, it's important to reaffirm your position and not be swayed by guilt. Another effective technique is to maintain emotional independence. By cultivating your self-esteem and security, you become less vulnerable to manipulation attempts. This can include pursuing hobbies, maintaining friendships outside the relationship, and having clear personal goals. When you know who you are and what you want, it becomes harder for the manipulator to distort your perception of yourself and your choices. This type of emotional independence is a powerful shield against manipulative behaviors. Finally, seeking external support, whether through friends, family, or therapy, can provide a clearer perspective on what's happening in the relationship. Sharing your experiences with someone you trust can help validate your concerns and find strategies to deal with manipulation. By surrounding yourself with a support network, you strengthen yourself and ensure that your emotional and mental health is always a priority. With these defenses in place, you can face any attempt at manipulation with confidence and resilience. Now that you're armed with this knowledge, it's time to apply it to your life. How do you deal with lies and manipulations in your relationships? Can you identify when something isn't right, or do you still get carried away by appearances? Remember, true strength lies in recognizing the signs and taking control of your own story. It's not just about protecting yourself, but about creating an environment where trust and honesty are the foundation of the relationship. Why not start applying these techniques today? Observe the little things, question what doesn't seem right, and above all, trust your instincts. If you truly want to transform your relationships and live a more authentic love, this is your chance to start. And to continue learning and strengthening yourself emotionally, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Together, we'll discover how to live healthy relationships, free from lies and manipulation.